Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Around the League. Today we are updating our video for the NCHC. Now this is a hockey-only conference in Division 1. Most of these schools will be Division 1 schools that you have probably heard of. There are a few in here that are not normally D1 schools, but do in fact play D1 hockey, and we'll talk about all of those as we go through today's video. But 10-member schools as of this year. If you're unfamiliar with the history of college hockey within the last 20 years, the NCHC came about when the Big Ten decided to include hockey in its sports programming for the first time and become a hockey conference. And so what used to be called the WCHA, which still exists in a current form with women's sports, basically dissolved, and what was left was kind of an amalgamation of all of these teams that were left out of the Big Ten and joined together to form a new conference known as the National Collegiate Hockey Conference. So 10-member schools we'll talk about today. We're going to start in the west and work our way kind of to the east by starting with the single school in Arizona. Now, down in Phoenix, there are two D1 schools. The one with hockey is located in Tempe. It is the largest university in the country, known as Arizona State. You've definitely heard of Arizona State, but maybe you didn't know they are, in fact, a hockey school. Right next to Mountain America Stadium, or the former Sun Devil Stadium, is Mullet Arena. Now, if you're an NHL fan, you may be familiar with this arena as the former home of the Arizona Coyotes before they dissolved and were kind of re-enfranchised as the Utah Mammoth. But Mullet Arena, what used to be the smallest arena in the NHL, is home to the ASU Sun Devils. Very cool atmosphere for college hockey, very, very weird atmosphere for NHL. But we zoom out here and go from the smallest of these schools. Actually, we won't go to the biggest quite yet in terms of hockey arenas, but we'll go up to Colorado to the two schools in Colorado. First one is down in Colorado Springs. So if we zoom in on Colorado Springs, two D1 hockey schools, but one in this conference. Of course, the one in this conference is known as Colorado College. Colorado College going to be located to the north of Colorado Springs here, the Tigers. And I believe, if I remember correctly, yes, this picture has been updated since the last time we did this. But this is Ed Robson Arena, a very new arena for college hockey and a very, very cool complex if you've never seen it or never been there in person. One of kind of the new crown jewels of college hockey, home to the Colorado College Tigers. Their state rivals and more recently successful hockey schools is located up in Denver. Officially known as the University of Denver, of course, if you look at it as the acronym, they do in fact flip those letters, so it becomes DU. But the Denver Pioneers, located there to the south of downtown Denver. The most successful hockey school, tied as of recording with Michigan, of course. I'm recording this the day before the national championship, so that may have changed. But the Denver Pioneers located there. Now we go to the largest college hockey arena in the country. We zoom in on North Dakota and specifically the university in Grand Forks. This is UND, the former Fighting Sioux, now known as the Fighting Hawks. Play hockey at the Mecca, the crown jewel, the Lambeau Field, if you will, of hockey, Ralph Engelstad Arena. 13,000 people fill this every single weekend to cheer on Sioux Ya. But the Fighting Hawks of the University of North Dakota, located there at Ralph Engelstad Arena, a school where my father and my brother both went. So this conference, if I didn't mention it already, is one near and dear to my heart. One, for that reason, but two, because it's also home to a new member school down in Minnesota, and it's the school that I personally went to. So we zoom in on downtown Minneapolis. Of course, one of those schools that destroyed the WCHA by leaving for the Big Ten is a Big Ten school known as the University of Minnesota. But further down the street here is my alma mater at the University of St. Thomas. Now, their new arena just opened this year, and you cannot see it on this picture, but located right in this complex here, they tore up a bunch of these buildings, including the old print center that I used to go to every once in a while, but Lee and Penny Anderson Arena, one of the new crown jewels of college hockey, like I mentioned, with Colorado State. A lot of very cool arenas in this conference, but that is home to the St. Thomas Tommies. The other school in this conference, or actually two more schools in this conference in the state of Minnesota. First one is up in St. Cloud, and it's where my sister went to school. St. Cloud State University, located there in kind of the heart of St. Cloud. The Huskies, who took their logo, of course, from the Montreal Canadiens. But SCSU, the Herb Brooks Hockey Center, located there in St. Cloud. And the more successful of the three schools in Minnesota is up in Duluth. This is the University of Minnesota in Duluth. 3-time hockey champions in the last 20 years. UMD, going to be located to kind of the north of town here if I zoom out. Great view of Lake Superior down the hill, but the Bulldogs of UMD located there in Duluth. We have to skip over Wisconsin. Of course, Wisconsin has a D1 school, but it plays in the Big Ten, so we have to go over to Michigan. One school in Michigan, it's in Kalamazoo, and as of me recording, like I mentioned, they are the defending champions. This is Western Michigan. Historically, not a very good sports school, but Western Michigan University, home to the Broncos, and like I said, the 2025 D1 college hockey champions. We zoom out here and we go over to Ohio. I did in fact skip over one. I said we would conclude with Ohio, but because I skipped one, we'll come back to that last school to close the video. On the western side of the state is the town known as Oxford. If we zoom in on Oxford, Ohio, we're looking for the school known as the University, or actually Miami University. Millett Hall is home to the arena sports of Miami, Ohio, the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio. Probably more so known as a football school. They are members of the MAC, or the Mid-American Conference, but Miami, not to be confused with Miami in Florida. And last but not least, the one I skipped over is down in Nebraska. We zoom in on Omaha. Straight west of downtown Omaha, straight west of Creighton University, is going to be the University of Nebraska, Omaha. The Mavericks of UNO, located there in Omaha. Another one of those maybe lesser-known hockey schools, better success in basketball, at least in the last 5 years. But Omaha, located there, rounds out the 10 teams that make up the NCHC. So let me know what you thought of this video in the comments section below. If there are other conferences that you'd like us to cover, let me know, and hopefully we'll get them in our queue sometime very, very soon.